Hello, hello, this is Linda from This Was Made by Hand. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make the vintage heart bag. I don't know how to write patterns. I've never gone over tutorials, so bear with me. But if you want to make this bag, keep on watching. So here we have our yarn. I'm using Big Twist in the color medium rose. You guys can follow along with any other color that you'd like, but I love pink. Next I have this tool to help cut yarn. You could just use scissors. And then I have my hook, which is 5.25 millimeters. And then lastly we have our yarn needle that we're going to use to stitch the two halves together. First, I always like to start by pulling out some extra yarn so that the tension isn't too tight. And then you're going to begin by creating the starting knot. Okay, once you have the starting knot, you're going to chain 12. And then once you've chained 12, you're going to do half double crochet across the 11 stitches. And we're just about done with the 11 half double crochets. Once you do that, you chain one, turn your work. For the rest of this little rectangle that we're going to make, you're going to do back loop only. So you're going to turn your work, look for that back loop, and then you're going to keep doing half double crochets across the row in the back loops only. You're going to continue that until you get a total of 7 rows. The reason you're doing back loops only, it will create a nice texture, almost like a ribbed texture, which will focus on the base of the heart. So fast forward, we've got our 7 rows here. And then what you're going to do now is called, I think it's double treble crochet. So if you look closely, you're going to loop over 3 times. So yarn over 3 times, and then find the halfway point, insert your hook, and then you're going to do double crochet, 2 chains, another 2 chains, another 2 chains, yarn over another 2 chains. So again, yarn over, oh sorry, you're going to chain 1 here, and then you have your little, I think they call it a pole or something. I really don't know the terms. So next you're going to yarn over again 3 times, insert in the same spot, yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, chain 1. So you're going to make 8 of these columns in that center stitch. Insert the hook. Someone please correct me, I'm not sure if it's double or treble crochet, but just feel free to go back to the first column that I made to see how I did it. Didn't realize I was out of frame here, so you can't really see, so I would definitely go back to when I made the first column and just repeat that 8 times until you have 8 of the columns. And then when you're finished with that last chain 1, you're going to insert it into the corner of the square and then slip stitch to close off that part. And then what you're going to do is make the other half of the rounded edge of the heart and make 8 columns again into the center stitch. So right there. So again, repeat the steps. You're going to make 8 columns by yarning over 3 times, and then you're going to insert it into that stitch in the center, and then yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, yarn over, pull 2, and then chain 1, and then repeat until you end with the chain 1 after the 8th column. So here, and then you're going to find the other corner of the square that we made and slip stitch into there. So once you do that, you should be able to make out the shape of the heart. So we're going to work on the border, which is 2 parts, I would say. There's like the square edge, and then we're going to do the frilly edges after. So in order to do the square edges, we're going to do every other stitch, stitch. We're going to do half double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then half double crochet, chain 1, and repeat that all around until you get to the rounded edges. It's going to be a little bit different. So you'll notice every other stitch kind of falls between every other row of the half double crochets of that rectangle that we made. So once you get to the corner edge of the heart, the tip, you're actually going to chain 2. I don't think I did it here, but that'll help so that you're turning your work and creating the little corner. So repeat on the other side of that rectangle, the every other stitch you're going to do half double crochet, chain 1. And then once you get to the columns, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, so we're approaching the columns. So for the first 5 spaces, you're going to keep doing half double crochet into each of them. So half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1. So right where I pointed, those 5, start your half double crochet, chain 1s. So we're at 3, and then the 4th space, and then we're at the 5th space. For the next 2 spaces, 3 spaces, you're going to be doing 2 half double crochets inside that chain space. And then once you do 2, chain 1 and repeat that for the next 3 spaces. And then once you get to the last space before the dip of the heart, what you're going to do is do a half double crochet decrease of the space. So you'll see it right where I'm pointing. You're going to take those 2 spaces next to each other and do a half double crochet decrease. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is yarn over like you're doing a half double crochet, pull through, and then before you do a yarn over, you're going to insert the hook into the other space, yarn over, pull through, and then you're going to take that and just pull through all of those loops on your hook. Chain 1. So now we're going to work backwards of what we just did. You're going to do 2 half double crochets in the next 3 spaces, and then after that, what you're going to do is just plain old half double crochet, chain 1 across the rest of the 5 spaces. I'll write out the steps that I did and link it below just because I really don't know if this is going to be understandable for people. Hopefully it's an easy project for you guys. So there, I'm just going quicker until I get to the end. Once you get to the end, what you're going to do is slip stitch into that first half double crochet to close off that round. And there's the squared border, which helps define the heart a little better. And then the next step is what we're going to do is create the frilly edges. So to create the frilly edges, you're basically going to chain 4 and then insert slip stitch into each of the chain spaces, the little square spaces we just created. You're going to do that all around the heart. So again, into those spaces, that's where you're going to do chain 4, slip stitch, chain 4, slip stitch. So here, chaining 4, and then slipping the stitch, chain 4, slip stitch into the next space, and then just keep doing that until you reach the end, and at the end you're going to slip stitch to close the round. So here you'll see I finished, and then once you do that final slip stitch, I like to do an extra chain to create a nice tight knot. Cut off the edge, and then you're going to pull it all the way through and tighten it to create that finishing knot. And then there you have the heart. So next, once you have your heart, we're going to work on the straps. I believe they're called box stitches. You can watch a better tutorial because this might be a little confusing. So you're going to pull out your yarn about your arm span 3 times, and then you're going to, where you stopped, you're going to create your starting chain there until you have basically 2 tails that are the same length. And then insert that where you would like your straps to be. Slip stitch. I like to take just one of the tails to pull it through and then pull it tight. So you're going to yarn over from the front with one tail and then yarn over from the back with another and pull that through both chains on your hook. I'm sorry, stitches. I keep saying chains. So yarn over from the front then yarn over from the back, and then pull it through the 2 stitches. And then you're going to do that until you get 60. So once you have 60 of those, you're going to find the other half of it. I like to fold it in half to see where I'm going to put the other side of the strap. And then again, you're just going to insert and do a slip stitch. Again, I like to use just one of the tails for the slip stitch, and then pull that all the way through. And then you're going to keep those 2 tails, and I like to tie a couple extra knots with those tails so that it's nice and secure. So here I'm just pulling it tight, and then with the tails I'm going to tie them together to create a stronger knot. And then you can go ahead and cut off the excess. I'm pretty lazy, so I did not weave in my ends here. It's going to be on the inside, so I usually just leave it. Alright, so now we're at the last step. What we're going to do is take some extra yarn, use our yarn needle, and we're going to stitch the 2 halves together. So once you've repeated all the steps and created your second half, just do a simple stitch all the way around. So obviously you want to start where the straps are so that you're not closing the top of the bag. What I like to do is insert it into one of the halves first, and then pull it through until I reach about the end of that yarn that I am working with. Gets a little tangled. And what I'll do is I'll create my starting knot from there by just tying the 2 ends together. So I'll do it twice for a double knot. And then lay out my 2 halves together and then start stitching the edge all the way across. A little tip for stitching it together, you don't want to do your stitches where the frilly edges are. You're going to do it where we created that square border. And then you're just going to do that all the way around until you get to the other side of the strap. And then tie off that end, snip off the excess yarn, and you have your heart bag. If you guys would like, I created an angel heart bag version. I could create a separate video of how to create those wings. Just make sure to comment below if you'd like to see that, or if there's a different project of mine that you guys would like to see next. So here's the finished product. I hope you guys were able to follow my tutorial. Bear with me, I really feel like it probably made no sense, but hopefully it did. I'll attach below the written out instructions. Thank you guys for watching and supporting. If there's any project that I made that you guys would like a tutorial on, feel free to comment below and I'll work on that.